This is actually day 3 of Spa 24 2023. Months ago, I don't think we even had a lineup for this attempt. Tim wasn't part of the lineup until Wednesday.
One afternoon where I was with my family and we were having some dinner, and he just called me and he was like, okay, do you want to race at Spa? And I was like, of course, no problem, I can be there tomorrow. Of course, I saw myself and the whole team as the underdogs, let's say, because we all had different suits and, looking at all the others, everyone was like perfect and matching the suits with the cars and so on, and we were the completely opposite.
We're this ragtag crew of 4 guys, each wearing different suits.
At the end of the day, whatever lineup we have, we need to finish the race to get a result. And if you finish this race, you will have already a good result.
Our priority was to have fun, and this is what for sure we had. Being professional and finish the race. That was our main target.
We had this Bronx test. It was more or less the first day of driving in 24.
We did very well at the Bronx test. The car was in the window, just massively fast.
He was struggling with the first 2 sets, and then we talked to him and just say, just enjoy this last set and just let the car roll into the corners like crazy, and he did, and then he improved another 2 seconds.
When I arrived for free practice, on the first lap on the car was feeling really great, but then for pre-qualifying, it just flipped completely.
It's more like that we don't have the grip in the front. When we were testing it, we brake, we turn, and the front was like a train. It was sticking to the inside, and now it's just like you try to rotate the car, but you fell into understeer and it just washed out.
So this was more difficult for Antares to bring it like kind of good lap time, and also to drive around the problem. I think this is one topic he also needs to learn for the future.
The mood was really down and we all were like, okay, we don't understand what's going on. We were a bit afraid actually going into the qualifying.
The expectations for quali was nothing, just finish it and we see where we end up, and then we start the 24.
At one critical moment, I was P8 or P9, whatever, in the first 1/3 of the field.
The mood was like, okay, he did a good job. It was not perfect, but we were happy.
There was a red flag, and that put the session on pause, if you will. And right as we were waiting for the session to resume, it started raining.
Oh, well, this is going to throw things completely. All of a sudden, those drivers that have done a lap time have got a banker, and it's a very important banker, because if the rain sets in and the forecast is that it's going to be heavy showers this evening, no one's going to get near a 218, and this is going to throw the grid upside down. It's going to throw Superpole into a really interesting situation. Only Spa does this.
I can only speak to the tech as it is, but it's not bad. But go out ASAP. Don't give shit about tire temperature.
I mean, you cross the line and then we got the red.
Yeah, exactly. The timing was perfect.
You know what? It's not as shit as I thought, relative to the other bosses.
It's okay. It's good.
Yeah, we got lucky.
The cars that it's going to hurt the most, in a way, are the overall cars, because they will not have a dry time at all.
Rain got a bit worse. It looked pretty bad. So starting Q2, most sensible people would go out there on wet tires. We tried to be sensible too, so we followed.
I think 3 laps to go, and they asked me, okay, do you think that slicks could work? But I was like, not at all. I mean, it was so slippery, and to be honest, I was also scared a bit to crash. So I wanted to continue on rain tires. But then the lap after, I was okay. We have to go on slicks as well.
We came in, took the dry tires, but you still have to go out because the session is ending. It's only 15 minutes. Can you make that dry lap?
I think it's tough. I think it's tough. He needs to push like fucking crazy.
Tim, which is a last-minute call-up to this lineup, did a fabulous job. Really, he was pushing like a fiend, a complete monster on the out lap, just to make sure he could start his dry lap before the checkered flag. He made it with 5 seconds to go.
220. We made it, yeah.
Which then allowed me to do another timed lap, which was really crucial in the end, because this put me on P5 in my session.
Looks really damp and wet,
Right.
but it just grips. You
And
can
you-
like push so much. Yeah, like easily you could have done like 290.
So you were driving a dry line, I suppose.
Yeah.
Full dry line.
Like
okay,
end
right.
of chemist straight in turn 1, I was
Yeah.
driving in the middle.
Okay.
And apart from that, dry line.
So the rain is actually only around the source all the way to chemistry. Okay.
The running joke for much of this week was, we know Matteo's good, we know we've got some bronze pace. What if we made Super Pole? I'm like, guys, we're in the business of being realistic. Racing is the most brutally, factually realistic, thing there is. You cannot delude yourself. So, guys, what the hell are we talking about? Super what pole?
I think our chances are not too bad
Yeah, I think,
to be in
yeah.
top 20.
Yeah. Well, let another lap run by because I think quite a few cars just switched to wet, so let them finish this lap.
It was clear at one point the pros with 3 drivers who started like from Q2 on, they will not ever come back in the average time.
Super Pole on Friday evening may not be the usual suspects, but it'll be those that went out in F at qualifying 1 and got a lap time in, and I think certainly the first.
This is bloody insane. I think it's only because there are 4 drivers and we had a low average in the first qual. Fun? I think you would say it was a Super Pole.
Yannis did a solid job. Matteo finished, and he was flying in the rain. He was P1 by quite a margin.
It's insane. He just improved another second.
I started to realize that we are in a really good position to make it into Super Pole. But in Q1, I was not even thinking about getting into Super Pole.
Honestly, mate, this is completely insane. Guys.
Not so bad.
What a day. What a freaking day. Brother, you are an animal. You beat Estra. You beat Klausy. I'm sorry, you beat practically everyone.
For the 4 drivers, each of us caught a little bit of that luck. We had to be there ready for it. That actually did happen. Lightning struck in a bottle, and we ended up overall 3rd in a grid of 70 people, 70 cars. If you are just looking at the stats, it is not supposed to happen. The rules are that when you finish the qual, the regular qual, in the top 20, regardless of color and stripe, you go into a Super Pole event. Basically, it's a 2-lap shootout. The results of this Super Pole determines the starting position of the first 20 cars. There was yet another conversation in the kitchen this morning. I share a B&B with Yannis, and he's like, yeah, you know what if we do well in the Super Bowl? I'm like,
I was joking like, you never know, maybe we go Super Pole. We don't know. And then actually it happened. For sure we did not expect it at all. But then it happened, and then we said, okay, why be not optimistic and say, well, maybe we go pole. Matteo he's always fast. You give him a bad car, you give him a good car, he's fast, always. And this is pure talent, I would say.
Matteo Cairoli sharing with Antares out, Tim Heinemann and Yannis Fitja breaks the beam, and a 2:16.880, the best lap of the session, fantastic.
Fucking bronze cup. Overall fucking pole. Guys! Thank you, Timo. Thank you. What the hell? Guys, what did we do? Exactly, what happened here? I'm sorry. Guys, thank you.
I mean, I know Klaus is very quick, but you know, Spa it's super enjoyable every time, and when I feel that I could not go any quicker, I'm pretty sure that's the limit, you know. So, and this actually what happened.
The result is actually rather hard to comprehend. At some point, you just take in the circumstances, realize the probabilities of what just happened, the gravity of it comes to you. So to me, that was a very overwhelming, overpowering moment, if you will.
Go to Matteo. It was just like so emotional. It means so much for him. And I said, yeah, just enjoy the moment. Maybe it's just once in a lifetime.
What the hell happened? Let's go find him.
Yeah, we go.
We're racing.
Probably the highlight of the weekend has been that one, because from what I hear, Porsche was not on pole since 1958, so pretty long time.
Everyone in the team, in the garage, screaming and going crazy, and yeah, being the first bronze car ever on pole.
I'm so proud of you.
For a 24-hour race, everyone is like, okay, qualifying is not important. At that moment, nobody of us, and I'm pretty sure Yannis and Antares and Matteo was the same, cared about the race. We were just 100% happy about what happened in qualifying. It was pure joy.
This is the fourth time I'm attempting this event. Last year, we made a very strong effort putting together a lineup that we think had a good chance in the junior category, which is called Pro-Am. And that didn't quite work out. You are constantly reminded that this working and this not working, the line is so blurry and it's not within your control.
I mean, when I was driving, there was still some spray.
Okay.
I mean, spray was everywhere.
Right.
But I could see that there was no more standing water.
Right. If he's starting on wets,
I would say if they keep wet, we keep wet as well. We didn't know actually what was the right choice for the tires. Then when you are on the grid with surrounded by thousands and thousands of people, you are leading, you are in front of everybody, and you have to show that you need to stick to the position. It was not easy, definitely.
We'll focus really just on doing our part and try to be clean. So hopefully last year did something good. I care less about the absolute outcome, but I will be measuring myself on a more absolute yardstick. Where was I? Where am I? How much is a progress? I think that is something I can control.
Well, if they start on the safety car, it's better for us.
Really? You think so? Okay.
I mean, we know that we are holding the position at least for the first lap.
Okay. I think this probably happens once in a lifetime. You look at all this here. This is incredible. Outright incredible.
The best hour, because the more a condition is difficult and the more I'm enjoying it. The first 10 laps were absolutely terrifying in terms of grip. We were driving with slick tires and still in a damp track. so pretty sleepy.
Have fun. Just watch your tank limits. It's okay.
It was fine, then the rear job and the front was still very pointy. Then it stabilized at one point and I got more understeer to the end.
More understeer, so the front decline.
He was the fastest car on track and everyone was struggling like hell because everyone was driving high pressure.
And consistently, you know, to defend the ultimate feels gating. Except the tank limit warning, they won't cancel goals in.
The first hour we finished on P1. Then after Yannis jumped in the car, we dropped back to, I think, P4, P5, which was expected. When I was in the car, it was the same. So lap times were good, not crazily fast, but just normal, solid job.
I had always the track limits in my mind, so this was hiding me a bit of showing my true performance, I have to say, because this was also pressure. You need to deliver because the Bronx wanted to have you on the car, so you don't want to make any mistakes.
Just be calm, just do your thing, just really be tight and focus on the exit.
Then it was Antares in the car and he was struggling a bit. He was a bit off pace, a bit more than expected. So I just realized that he's struggling.
I think he was not used to the sharp car. He needed some laps to, adapt his driving.
I decided to go for an aggressive front axle, but not crazy, because for a gentleman it's never too easy to drive a car with a loose rear.
Bronx drivers and not like super experienced drivers don't like that. It's more easy to have a push understeer, and this is what Antares at the moment for sure it's missing.
He puts a lot of pressure on himself because he saw Matteo doing well and we started on pole and P1 overall and so on. And he wanted to do well to make us proud. But I think what he needed to realize is that this is not the expectation. For me, the night was really relaxed, to be honest. I was in the car the last time, I think about 10 or 11 in the night. And then we did a lot of changes on the run sheet. Between 3 and 4 a.m. are the hardest stints. So you can see a lot of crashes happening because you lose focus, you're not concentrated anymore.
The Lamborghini spinning. Mercedes end up on the other side of the track. Here it is, coming backwards. There's the Lamborghini sitting sideways. And the Thieber car, it caught the tail. So the Mercedes that caused the incident.
We actually had one hell of a night. It was also this gamble. We took a collective call that it makes sense to burn up all the bronze driving time as early as possible. If the bronze survived the night, this would give the pros maximum running time during the day to do their good. My gambit was that, yeah, I can't be the only bronze out there. Come on, there are 70-something cars. There gotta be some bronzes. No. I was quite outgunned, and there were quite a few accidents as well.
That would be the BMW, Neil Verhagen's car, slamming across a CB32. Well, he's been given a thump up the rear, so he's completely innocent in all of that. But then, that horrific moment, you're sitting facing sideways on, and then fortunately for him going off the side of the track. So
really just coping. See, a good driver will make use of that as an opportunity. Me, I'm coping. I'm also blocking out the fact that this is way above my lead happening behind me.
And I could see that the others were struggling. in terms of pace, but also in terms of collecting track limits?
It was probably one of my few races where I could not actually rest. The tire starts to kick in a lot, and we were 1 or 2 laps down at that time, so our race was pretty much compromised due to the fact I got a penalty for track limits. Yannis got one as well.
Problem is, we can only take the 30 seconds under full course yellow without fucking ourselves over, but if we take it under full course yellow, we basically miss the safety car pass around.
Only way would be to get a safety car session before the next pit stop.
It doesn't happen.
Could be. Could be. Still 55 minutes to go.
Okay. Now we're just coming in. We have to serve a 30-second here, and yep, that makes a pass around very difficult if a pass around happens.
So when I came back to the track, and I think we already had a penalty served, and then we got another one for track limits. To be honest, I was pissed a bit because this was not what we discussed.
So Jana served a 30-second from Mateo before. I served a drive-through, and now we're serving yet another one.
About the track limits, we lost 1.5 minutes because there was a counter. I think starting 0 for sure, and then up to 6, and from 6 on you got 30 seconds stop and go.
Luckily, in the morning hours when I was in the car, our class leader was going into the pit lane. I was right behind him on track. Then he was going into the pits, which then allowed me to jump in front of him, and then the race control deployed the safety car. So that meant that we not only got the lead lap back, but we were allowed to catch up back to our class leader. So we gained like 2 minutes.
The moment looks quite good. We are running in free air, so we have quite good pace at the moment, or Tim has quite good pace.
And this was the moment where I was able to do the lap record, catching up like 40 or 50 seconds.
The pure racing car was still quite far from us, but after I got the message on the radio that their car was a bit damaged, I said, okay, now it's time to give it all.
This time now I hate.
Exactly. We actually only have one more life. 6, we get a penalty, we're 5.
In my case, I really, if I switch off myself, I mean, I just get into the rhythm and I don't think at anything else. So my goal was trying to see the pure racing car in front of me. I was actually counting the lap, you know. I was asking how long was missing to the end of the race.
6 hours ago we thought it's over. You know,
Yeah.
you can always fight back.
6 hours ago, I poured him a cup of hot water. I told him, you know what? Here's to keep you warm. Thanks for staying out the entire night.
But still, it's 42 minutes to go, eh?
That, just between you and me. You don't want to be inside right now. All right, 1/3 of a lap.
Fucking Spa going forward! Los encima!
If I have to be honest, I was more happy for Antares than for myself, because I knew he was really pushing to win this race, to perform in the best way possible. So my main target, it was to see Antares happy, and I saw him nearly crying, so really nice to see that.
It was really a weekend of up and downs, starting off really good in the free practice and then struggling in the pre-qualifying, then being on P1 in Super Pole, then struggling in the race as well, being one lap down, then catching up back again, but in the end just pure joy.
We took a ragtag crew that was put together Tuesday before the race. I mean this Tuesday. Put it on pole and won the class. I think we did something rather unusual.
I wasn't totally agree, let's say half of the race with the strategy with my engineer, but in the end I was wrong and he was right.
Congratulations, that was an absolutely epic 24 hours. Matteo, we'll just come and have a quick word. You did the last stint, you said you were having to control yourself so hard for tracking minutes.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, that was my main problem, I would say, in the last 2 hours. So I'm super happy because we won the 24 hours of Spa in a Bronze Cup.
I think we make a kind of history, I would say, because we led top quali and we led the Super Pole, we led our class, and somehow we made history.
Yeah, do now and back in the oven. You have to be quick. Lamper, front right.
Oh, this is good.
It's a disaster.